Force is with me. I'm on the Force. The Force is with me. So be it, Jedi.
Hello, everybody. It's Thursday. We're back. We had a short little hiatus last week. No big deal. But we're back. We're ready to talk Star Wars. It's Thursday night. Welcome to the Geek News Now Cantina Happy Hour. I am your host, David. We're here. We're going to talk about Kenobi tonight. We're going to be doing a giveaway tonight. With me, as always, though, is Debbie. How are you, Debbie?
I'm good.
Just good, huh?
It's a short week, but it's felt like a long week. So
I hear you. Also with me today is Cam from Cam and Focus.
Hello.
If you haven't watched any of Cam and Focus's, or if you haven't watched any of Cam's videos on YouTube, when you get done watching tonight, go watch some of his videos because they're amazing. And you just put a new one up not too awful long ago, right?
Yes, I did. I had promised a while back that whenever we hit 1,700 subs, I'd put out another Rage video, and this one was for Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li, and that was a chore to say the least.
But it had the girl from Smallville in it.
Yes, it did, and boy, was she miscast.
Boy, howdy, was that the wrong thing?
Yes, absolutely, and that they got Taboo from the Black Eyed Peas to be in there, and I think throughout all of that he thought he was still in a music video. That was the impression that I got.
I think I saw that movie once, and I may have only seen like the first half of it, and then said nope. The Van Damme was bad enough. This just makes it worse.
Of course.
So anyway, today we're going to be talking about Obi-Wan. We're going to be talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. With the series being finished, I think we can take a look at the life, the character of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Some of the things he's done, some of his pitfalls and triumphs and life and legacy and the whole enchilada. And I don't mean just Obi-Wan like mainstream may have seen him. I'm talking Clone Wars. I want to talk Rebels. I want to talk books. I know Debbie and Cam are very knowledgeable about the novels and everything. I know, Cam, you just got done reading Brotherhood, right?
Yes, I did. I listened to it on audiobook. Very, very good novel. It's one of those ones that retroactively makes something better, and that something was Attack of the Clones, since the book takes place literally just after the end of Attack of the Clones. Lots of gaps filled in, lots of explanations for things that I did have problems with the movie. And it was overall a very good read. If you look, it's not like essential reading by any means, but it works as a context filler.
No, if you say it's a good read, then it's essential reading. We must read Obi-Wan. We must read Brotherhood now, so everything's good. Before we get started, real quick, I'm gonna do this real fast. Look at this. We have got this beautiful, gorgeous. I'm trying not to get the light on it so you can see this beautiful print from Jamie Coker. Jamie Coker was in attendance at the Dallas Fan Expo. I happened to get this print, and I don't know if you can see, but yeah, it's autographed. I want to give this away. To one of our lucky listeners. So what you need to do to win this, if you want to win this, you just drop a comment. Drop a comment while we're going. I've got a little random number generator right here. And at the end of the show, I'll say, hey, somebody won, and here's who won. And then I'll mail it to you. And it'll be great. It'll be beautiful. So anyway, all right, let's start. Kenobi. First time we see Kenobi. We see him, and I'm not going chronologically. I'm going by release order. We have Alec Guinness. Alec Guinness brought the character to life. Brought the character that we know and love to life. and they've mentioned in multiple documentaries that the reason that they brought him in was they needed a veteran actor. George Lucas was notorious for hiring, no names, basically. No name actors, no name actresses. And the studio wanted someone with some clout or some pull to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so, of course, they hire Alec Guinness, just bridging the River Kwai. He very well established. He was 1970s Ian McKellen. Can I say that and get away with it?
I don't know who that is.
Huh?
Yeah.
You don't know
Gandalf.
who Ian McKellen is?
Oh,
Magneto.
I thought you said a different
Gandalf.
name. I'm sorry. I heard the last name wrong. I'm sorry.
Holy smokes.
Yes, I know who that is.
Okay.
Well, you do now.
Patrick Stewart, does he count? Can we count him?
Mhm.
He's back then. Okay.
Oh yeah, wasn't he that guy in Footloose?
No, but he was in that movie that had that guy from Footloose in it. If we're gonna play 6 Degrees. Anyway, okay. So thoughts on Alec Guinness's portrayal of this. I mean, he set the groundwork for it. What are your thoughts?
Well, I love him. I like him. I definitely do. I think that both. Well, his look, his voice, his mannerisms as Obi-Wan are, at this point iconic. Yeah, and I know that a lot of people try and say, well, he said that he hated being Obi-Wan and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, but who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, who cares? He gave the performance he was asked to give. He performed it well. We got what we got. That doesn't matter.
You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Yes, absolutely. But yeah, as far as his performance overall, but part of me wishes that they kind of gave him a bit more to I say a bit more to do, but a bit more than just, the mentor type or archetype character. But for the story that they were telling and for the events that played out, I think that what we got was extremely fitting, especially considering his encounter with Darth Vader and how collected he was. I thought that really suited his character.
I think if they had gone any more than what they did, it would have. If you look at the story, the original trilogy, that's really Luke's story. That's his hero's journey, basically.
Absolutely.
And if they had added any more to the mentor, to the Jedi, I think it would have taken away from Luke and his story.
Yeah, definitely.
Debbie?
I thought he did a great job. He comes off as the wise old wizard.
He's just a crazy old wizard.
Yeah. I mean, of course, he comes off very knowledgeable and, of course, with the accent. Of course, I always like those accents. But
come here, my little friend.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry, he'll be okay.
If you know who all I like, Tom Hiddleston, Chris Hemsworth. The accent does it for me. But yeah, very established actor. I loved him in Bridge over River Kwai. Great movie. And he's been in some other older movies. Well, a lot of older movies,
yeah.
but he, he's a very established and I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Anyways, yeah.
He was in one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and that was 1972 Scrooge with Albert Finney, and he played Marley's ghost, which, okay, it was just a little minor role, but you know what? It's one of my favorite movies, so... well, I take that back. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. So anyway, Well, then we get a young Obi-Wan in the prequels. We get not Hayden Christensen. God, what is wrong with me? Ewan McGregor. We get Ewan McGregor as a young Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I vaguely remember watching the trailer because we knew this was going to be the story of Anakin, and we knew what was going to be happening with him. And then the trailer drops, and one of the scenes in that trailer was Anakin Skywalker meet Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it was what's his name? Liam Neeson saying that. It was just the introduction that they had. And I was like, oh, Obi-Wan. This was our first look at a young Obi-Wan. And I don't think, I think of all the complaints about the prequel movies, there was always something, it's cheesy dialogue, or it's bad dialogue, or it's written poorly, or Anakin's just a whiny little kid. But I have yet to hear a sour thing said about Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. That seems to be the one thing that everybody can look at, the entire fandom, both sides of it, and say, that was amazing. That was good. I like that. There was I never saw anything, they should have picked somebody else to play Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Ewan, pretty much played him to perfection. The only thing I'll say is that in the Phantom Menace, Obi-Wan has nothing to do, unfortunately. He's just there, and
he sits on the ship.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't particularly have any meaningful dialogue. I mean, he exchanges words with people, obviously, but the main protagonist of the Phantom Menace is Qui-Gon. I think that's kind of easy to see, and Obi-Wan's just kind of there. And I remember whenever I saw the Phantom Menace, I remember going into it thinking, oh well, we're gonna get to see how Obi-Wan trained Darth Vader and stuff, and it was like Obi-Wan literally says one line to him throughout the entire movie. They hardly interact at all, and I felt kind of let down by that. But luckily, with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan really came into his own as that character, and you really got to see that personality blossom.
He didn't even, and his line to Anakin wasn't even until like the very, very end.
Very end, the last scene.
Line of the movie. It might have been the last line of the movie. Maybe.
It was.
No, because what's his name held the thing up and says peace.
Okay, well, the last actual line of the movie.
Full sentence.
Yes. Because actually, you know what? That wasn't the last line. Because after he says that, then Yoda and Mace Windu have that little exchange. Which was destroyed, the Master of the Apprentice, and then it slowly pans over to Palpatine. And then as soon as that's over, brr, brr.
But you know what though, and just to dwell on that scene just for a minute, and I know I'm gonna chase a rabbit here, but for those of us that were like hardcore Star Wars fans, we knew that Palpatine was the Emperor. We knew because his name is never mentioned in the original trilogy. It's just he's always just referred to as the Emperor. He's never referred to as Emperor Palpatine. But you read some of the books and the novels and things like that, and the stuff that happens in between, and his name is Palpatine. I can't. Okay, I know who that is, and this guy's gonna be the. But then you had people. Oh, I wonder who it is. And I was like, how do you not know who it is?
Exactly. I remember being in the theater and that scene coming up, and people are like, well, who is it? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just sitting there going, seriously? Because there was people in there that were my age, and I was like, packed theater, and you had to know people had seen the originals. They were there with their kids. So it's like, really? You're saying that? Or maybe they were saying it to their kids to kind of play it off. I don't know. But I was just like, y'all? Hi, cutie pie.
Yeah, it's like those memes that go around every now and then where it's like a picture of Sidious and a picture of Palpatine, and there's an arrow pointing to like the dimple in his chin, and it's like, what if they're the same person?
Imagine that.
And that is shocking. Shocking. But then
yeah, well, Obi-Wan, like you said, he's not in this movie much, but you know, he's still a Padawan.
Well,
to Qui-Gon.
and really, he's a Padawan, but he's obviously, according to Qui-Gon, he's ready. I mean, he's like at a Padawan that's like at the end of his training.
Yeah, he's already been through the Jedi Knight trials. So
No, not yet, because Qui-Gon says he's ready.
Obi-Wan's ready to take the trials.
He's ready to take the trials. Yeah.
Oh, I thought Obi-Wan said he had already taken the trials.
And I've always wondered about that because, and there was a theory going around, and maybe this was justified somehow or another, but I always thought sometimes, okay, Anakin, how did Anakin become a Jedi, and how did, I mean, they talk about these trials, but we never see him. And then at the end of episode 1, Yoda says, "Oh, confer on you the level of Jedi Knight we do, blah 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 blah." And so yes, he was a Jedi Knight by the end of the movie. But taking this boy as your Padawan, we do not agree with, blah blah blah, whatever. But I'm looking at it going, so did he do the trials, or the fact that he fought and defeated a Sith, did that just said, okay, never mind, you got it.
Yeah,
you're good.
Yeah, that right there kind of voided the trials right there, and it's I don't remember what specific source it was. I feel like it might have been the novelization of the film, but defeating Darth Maul basically marked his ascension into knighthood. Just like, and I'm gonna bring up Brotherhood. Just like at the end of Attack of the Clones, Anakin's part in the Battle of Geonosis was his ascension to knighthood, because the book basically opens up with Anakin as a newly appointed Jedi Knight.
Gotcha.
So
and I had to think about that, because if you go back and watch the Clone Wars, the micro series, the one that came on in 2005, 6, somewhere in there, on Cartoon Network, it was just a little 15-minute snippets. But Anakin was a Padawan until he fought and killed Ventress. Yes, he killed Ventress in that. So go watch. It's on Disney Plus. Go watch it. It's great. It's amazing. I love it. But then, like the next scene, they're knighting him. What are you laughing at? Go watch it.
I have. I didn't care for it.
How could you?
Oh, blasphemy!
Hey, you know, I have certain people in my life who say, "Well, you like everything Disney." Well, that isn't Disney.
No,
but yeah, I don't like everything. Star Wars Disney.
Neither was the first 6 seasons of the Clone Wars.
Oh.
Snap. I got
Clone Wars. I love. Resistance. I don't.
Yeah, I'll. Rebels.
I love Rebels.
Rebels is amazing. And speaking of Rebels, we do see Obi-Wan in that show too, briefly, mind you. But we do see him.
But before we see him in that, because I want to touch on this. We talked about Darth Maul and him defeating Darth Maul. Now, one of the big things that happens in the Clone Wars TV show. So episode 1 happens. He cuts Darth Maul in half. Episode 2 happens. Begin the Clone Wars has blah 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 blah. Now we get into the Clone Wars cartoon show, and they bring Maul back in an amazing fashion too, if you ask me. I mean, he became, for like the last 3 seasons, maybe.
I think they brought him back in season 5.
Was it 5? So the last,
I think. I don't remember.
For some reason, I was thinking 4, because it seemed like it was 4, then 5, then whatever.
I don't know. You're probably right.
He was like one of the main he may have been the main protagonist in quite a few of those episodes. It wasn't so much the Clone Wars is happening. It's more Darth Maul stirring things up, and we need to go stop it. But
Yeah.
they brought him back, and it was a good foil for Obi-Wan too. I mean, Obi-Wan at this point had. There's rumors, and if you want to buy into them, that's fine. I personally do. That he and now I can't think of her name. Satine, thank you. The Mandalorian had had some kind of a little
Well, yeah, I mean, she alluded as much.
He got to know her in the biblical sense, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Bodio Dodoing.
It's also mentioned in Brotherhood.
Oh, see, more reason to read it now.
Yes, exactly. And it's also hinted in that book, actually, that Satine was the one who gave him the name Ben.
Wow. Okay,
So.
now I got to go read that. I've been looking for it. I'm trying to find a used copy that I can buy cheap.
Well, I mean, honestly, I would highly recommend the audiobook. Jonathan Davis channels Ewan McGregor very, very well as a narrator. He also does a really good Anakin. He does a really good Yoda. He does a really good Count Dooku. I mean, he's a very well-rounded narrator. I think if you're going to experience the book, I would recommend the audiobook.
That means I'd have to go get a subscription to audiobooks and blah, blah, blah. I'll find it.
But if you sign up for the free month of Audible, you get one book for free.
There you go. And then you cancel after the first month.
Exactly.
And then you set up a bunch of fake dummy accounts. month. All that aside. So we get Maul back, and a lot of Maul is him wanting revenge on Obi-Wan for cutting him in half, which makes sense. I get that. I'm not so sure I was too keen on Savage or the Night Sisters.
What?
I don't know. I think the Night Sisters for me left a bad taste in my mouth, and I think it has to do with the Courtship of Princess Leia by Dave Wolverton. And if you haven't read that book, go read it because it's amazing. It is now considered a Legends book, but basically it's how Han and Leia got married after Return of the Jedi kind of thing. And the Night Sisters were a pretty key, if I recall correctly, were pretty key characters in that book. They were the antagonists for that book, basically. And they rode Rancors, and they were really cool. And then we get these ones, and I'm like, yeah, okay, it's not exactly what I pictured. I mean, you're taking stuff from the well, I guess it wasn't Legends at the time because Disney hadn't bought them yet, but you're bringing stuff from the expanded universe, and I guess that's good, but it's just not the way I wanted it. It's not the way I expected it. So
yeah,
go
I kind of agree with you there. The Night Sisters in the Clone Wars seemed a little too cartoony, and I mean, obviously saying that in a cartoon, it's like, oh well, isn't that what it's supposed to be? But they seemed a little out of place. I did like, however, that the way that they used the Force was more akin to like actual magic, magic and witchcraft and sorcery. I thought that was really interesting. But the way that they presented the idea of this species or this sect of people, it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't seem right. It was like two completely different writers got together and they were like, okay, well, I'm gonna take care of this, and you're gonna take care of this, and we'll find a way to make it work in between.
We'll make it work. We'll glue it together, and we'll. I tell you what, we'll take both scripts and we'll put them in a cannon, and then we'll fire the cannon off, and then we'll just go pick up pages and say, okay, yeah, here, we'll put it together like that.
Well, I kind of looked at it as the sisters in the Clone Wars series. That was them at their peak, and course, the ones that we see, well, not see, but the ones that we read about, even though it's legends and it came before the series. But for me, it's like, okay, these are them, how many years, 30, 40 years after Clone Wars, and they're not at peak anymore or not as powerful as they once were. That's the way I look at it.
Well, that's something that I kind of appreciate the Jedi Fallen Order game for, because I don't off the top of my head remember the name of the Night Sister character. I want to say I think it's like Talia or something like that. But her character came in about halfway through the game, and she really did a lot to humanize not only herself as a character, but also the Night Sisters in general. Stuff like that. That's something I like about Star Wars as a franchise, is that the subsequent expanded universe entries that come out make what's around them better. So I'm kind of waiting for that more with the sequel trilogy, just like we did with the prequels. Whenever we got like the EU around that, the Clone Wars series and stuff like that.
I'm still of the mind that when Mando season 3 comes out, we're gonna get stuff that touches on it's gonna tie the sequel trilogy to the original trilogy.
Well, they've already said that. I mean, everything that's coming out.
They laid the groundwork for it. I think
they laid the groundwork.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I want to see it. Show it to me.
Yeah, it'll all tie in and lead right up to it.
Be beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like poetry.
Mandalorian season 3: The Adventures of Young Rey.
No, I won't go that. No. No. I won't go that far. So anyway, we get into Rebels, and we have one episode within Rebels that has Obi-Wan Kenobi in it,
and it's called Twin Sons. Go figure.
Yeah, go figure. And I never really was a huge fan of Rebels. I mean, it was okay for what it was. I thought it took away from the original trilogy. Yes, it did. It did, because don't you nod at me. Because with that, what you had was, you had Luke Skywalker in the first movie, A New Hope. Who was the New Hope? Luke Skywalker was the New Hope. He was the one that is going to build the Jedi. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes this kid, Ezra Bridger, who was born on the exact same day as Luke Skywalker was. He's also an orphan, like Luke Skywalker was. And for some God only knows why reason, he is super duper powerful in the Force, just like Luke Skywalker was. I'm like, I wanted Rebels to be like Rogue One, to where it had nothing to do with the Jedi. It had to do with the building of the rebellion, and this is how we're fighting the Empire, and this is how we're doing it.
We'll get that in Andor in August.
I know, but again, Rebels for what it was, I appreciate it for what it was. I just didn't care for it because it wasn't what I wanted, and that's real. Other than the whole arc with Maul, where they were trying to get the holocrons, was really good, and then of course the when he finds Kenobi, which is who we're talking about, Kenobi.
Yeah. I think Maul's final scene with Kenobi is one of my favorite moments in all of Star Wars, really. Very well written, very tense. I don't know, just the tension between them whenever like the entirety of their stories leading up to it. I mean, it's just so good. And then
now I've got to say that the lightsaber duel unimpressed me. I thought it was very anticlimactic. It was over too fast. And maybe that's just because, we've got Revenge of the Sith. It's got like this big 30-minute long lightsaber fight in it. And I guess I was just used to that. But I mean, it seemed like it was over really fast. It was the dialogue afterwards that I enjoyed, or the dialogue leading up to and afterwards.
Have you ever seen the video with Sam Witwer where he explained, because he plays the voice of Maul,
Right?
Okay, this guy is a Star Wars guru. He knows
Super
everything.
fan.
Yes, he knows everything there is to know. But he goes in to explain the start of the lightsaber duel. How, Obi-Wan, he starts with his trademark thing, but then he changes it, and then he changes it again. He explains it all the reasoning and everything for it. And I was just like, well, I just got goosebumps just talking about it. But that's me. I love Sam Witwer. I wish to God they'd give him a live action show, not necessarily Star Killer, but just give him a show, a Star Wars show. But yeah, you'll have to look it up on YouTube.
Call Taika Waititi. Call him. He's done Ask Natalie Portman if she wanted to be in a Star Wars movie.
I thought that was hilarious.
I thought it was funny too, and honestly, I think it was a joke on his part.
I was gonna say, there's no way he didn't do that on purpose.
but everybody's looking at him. You're a fool. You are an idiot. Do you not know who that is?
Well,
I've already seen people posting about keep this man away from Star Wars.
Oh yeah. They're already the toxicity is spreading already. It's like, dude, come on. It's a joke.
Well, now there's a rumor going around that they're in talks with Christian Bale to play Star Killer, and I'm like,
Bane. He needs to be Bane.
Why?
Ooh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Why would they have him as Star Killer when you've got Sam Witwer, who played the guy?
He was the voice.
He was the voice and the actual face in the video game. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, and I think. Going back into Legends, talking about Bane, he's described as being, 2 meters tall, completely bald headed and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, Christian Bale might not fit that image of him, but they've changed things up in the canon, and what we see Darth Bane in basically Sith samurai armor in the Clone Wars, and it's like okay, well, if they change that much, then maybe they can change a bit more. So I can see Christian Bale doing it, but for a while everybody was like, oh, bring in Dave Bautista.
I'd go for Tom Hardy.
See, Dave Bautista, and in fact, I just like literally before the show started read an article about that apparently James Gunn tweeted out that this will probably be Drax's last role in Guardians 3. This will be the last time you see Drax. And that has to do with Dave Bautista coming up saying, I'm getting old. I can't keep up this physique forever. And I don't even want to try.
No.
So
I can't blame him. I mean, like, yeah, he's like what, in his 50s now, and he's gotta be jacked.
Yeah,
just absolutely jacked. I don't blame him.
I wouldn't either, but whatever. Anyway, okay, so Kenobi. Now that we've ranted about Bane and Star Killer and Drax for some reason made it on here. Speaking of which, Drax, Mondays is Marvel Mondays, MCU Mondays. And Debbie's a co-host over there. So
excited to go see Thor.
It's this weekend. I'm trying to find a window when I can go. I think I'm going to go Saturday night, but I'm not sure.
I'm going to the Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m.
Lovely. Oh. Nope.
Because nobody's there.
Yeah, nobody's there.
My kind of theater.
I was like, oh, I could probably do that and get away with it. No, I've got to take Luke to a doctor's appointment that morning. Oh, well. I'll find time. We'll make it work. But Kenobi. Okay, so Kenobi then defeats Maul. And then, of course, he loses his... Yes, as for the second time. And I think that was one of my favorite lines that Maul said too, was that he asked Kenobi, he heard Luke, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't watched the episode in a while, but he heard Luke and he said, he said something along the lines of, is that why you're here? Is he the
Chosen one.
Is he the chosen one? Yes.
Yeah, he didn't hear Luke. Yeah, he was kind of prying Obi-Wan. He was like, "Why would you come here? You're not here just to hide. Maybe you're protecting something." And then whenever Obi-Wan kind of drew back from that, he was like, "Oh no, you're protecting someone." And that's when Obi-Wan raised the lightsaber.
Except for that little, I don't know, we'll call it a week-long excursion where he was protecting Leia.
Oh, of course.
That's canon now. We gotta. He took a vacation from protecting Luke. Okay, Luke, you got it by yourself for now.
Yeah, and after Obi-Wan finally cuts him down, it's not like your typical villain death scene. I mean, Obi-Wan's like cradling him. He's trying to be comforting.
Right.
And
Like he did with Qui-Gon.
Yeah, and when Maul says he will avenge us, I mean, Maul's not talking about like him and Savage or whatever. He's talking about him and Obi-Wan.
Right.
That this boy that you're protecting will be the one that avenges us, because at that point both of their lives have been destroyed by Sidious. I mean, while they were enemies in a fundamental sense, I mean that they had a common enemy, and that person put them in the position that they were at that point. And so that it was a very brief exchange between them, but I found it to be very, very well profound.
Right. I just there have been so many profound things that have come out of just Kenobi in general. Let me see here. I'm trying to find something here. I apologize. I gotta bring it up because we are talking about Kenobi, of course. Let's see here. Okay. I found it and I will share it with you here in just a few minutes, and it's going to be hilarious. Anyway, so somewhere in between Rebels and Revenge of the Sith, basically, we get this new series that's out now, this Kenobi series, and I think a lot of people were not confused by it, but I think they got their feelings hurt because they looked at it like The Last Jedi. In fact, I'm surprised there was not a hashtag campaign going on, not my Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, now that you've put it out there,
Well,
the die has been cast.
Go for it.
I think, and I know just because I watched, I don't know how many TikTok videos of some of these big creators on there, and I think they were just expecting, one guy said, this is not the show they marketed, because he was expecting Obi-Wan and Anakin all the time. I mean, just throughout the whole series.
Here we go. If you haven't seen this is, it's too big. This is what people wanted: an ultra-powerful godlike being completely unbothered by his own past, capable of mowing down enemy armies before the twin sunset. And what we got was a complex character suffering from the effects of PTSD and depression over having literally lost everything, yet fighting overwhelming odds to do the right thing.
Does that sound familiar?
It sounds familiar, but you know what? That's what everybody wanted. Oh, he just defeated Anakin, and he, Clone War hero, and he's going to be doing all the right things all the time. And instead you had him, he was the one encouraging the Jedi in that first episode. He's like, dude, put it away. Put the lightsaber away. Go bury it. We lost. We are done. There's no more. I mean, every one of those scenes where he was at that carcass and cutting meat up and doing all this other stuff. And I mean, you could just, he was defeated. And you could see that in Ewan's eyes. And you could see he had been beaten. And he was no longer the man that he once was.
Yeah, a lot of the complaints I seen was that they took Disney, even though it wasn't Disney, it was LucasArts or Lucasfilms. They took this powerful Jedi and made him into this weak, person that they don't recognize from episode 3, and that they basically did to him what they did to Luke, because that was the main complaint in the sequels. They took this, of course, they're comparing it to Legends, where Legends,
right?
Legends
Luke wrote all kinds of stories.
Yeah, Luke is this all-powerful Jedi, which I love those stories, but they took that character and they just essentially, made him into a weak. Well, I won't say what I've heard.
but see that's the beauty of that, though. We are getting those stories still. We saw a taste of Grandmaster Luke in season 2 of The Mandalorian. We saw even more of it in Book of Boba Fett. I mean, granted, it's kind of an awkward place to have him, but we're getting him. We saw him building that Jedi temple. So it's important, and I'm going to bring it back to Obi-Wan kind of in a general sense here, but it's important to us as viewers who grow with these characters to not only see them at their best. We have to.
It really brings them down a level. It humanizes them
exactly
a lot, to where it's like, okay, they're not all powerful and all knowing and all this and that.
Yeah,
they make mistakes, and and that was one of Luke's biggest arguments in The Last Jedi, was when he came out and he said, hey, look, the Jedi were at their peak, and somehow they let Darth Sidious rise to power and take over the galaxy and get wiped out and everything. Yeah, Luke was despondent too. I get that, because the same thing had just happened to him as far as Kylo Ren goes. Well, just happened, but the same thing happened to him.
Yeah. Well, we have to see these characters have multiple dimensions, multiple facets to their personality. There's a place for all powerful Luke. There's a place for Master Duelist Obi-Wan, and the thing is, we've got those places. We're getting those places, but we're being shown something else too. We're being shown these characters down, defeated, broken, traumatized. Thinking about mistakes that they have made, and the fact is they did make those mistakes, and that's why these characters are so human. And that's, I don't know. I mean, despite the gripes that I have with the Kenobi series in general, I mean, I've warmed up to the series a lot, actually, since having watched it. So it's become a lot easier for me to digest. But that aside, I mean, the way that Obi-Wan was portrayed in that film series was something that I never took issue with. I found the writing for his character and the way that his trauma was presented to us as an audience, I found it to be incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that he actually hears it from who was a youngling there. Where were you? Why didn't you come back from us? I mean, he's already feeling guilty and, whatever. And then, she says that, and, to actually think it yourself, and to blame yourself for things, but to have somebody actually say it to your face. Well, they had a steel door between them. But
Figuratively speaking.
Yeah. But to have somebody really say it to your face, what you're already thinking, I mean, that's a punch to the gut.
Well,
It just makes it more real.
And
Yeah.
that makes it more real, and the same thing happened. I mean, well, I say the same thing. The opposite thing happened too when you had Vader at the end of that saying, "You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did." Because this whole time he had been thinking, why wasn't I there? Why didn't I? I killed Anakin. I destroyed him. It was my fault. And then Anakin basically came back and said, "No, it wasn't your fault. I did that. Don't worry about it. It's on you."
Yeah, it's all the Jedi's fault because they all, outside of Obi-Wan, I think they all treated him like a piece of crap.
There was a comic strip I saw once, and it said the real reason that Anakin turned to the dark side, and then it showed Mace Windu coming up. "We do not grant you the rank of master." And then it showed Obi-Wan coming up. "We've issued you a new lightsaber, and it's pink." And then it showed Palpatine come up, and he goes, "I promise I'm not going to call you Annie." And he was like, "Woohoo!
Yippee!
Woohoo!"
Oh, that's funny.
Anyway, fall to the dark side. Palpatine just called him Anakin instead of Annie. Anyway, Kenobi, though, as a series in general, and I really enjoyed it. As far as I hope we get a second season. I'd really like a second season. That would be amazing. I know there's rumors of it, but just to see,
Haven't heard anything official yet.
Haven't heard anything official. A lot of rumors, but anyway.
Yeah, I think the show did a really good job, especially Ewan, moving more towards that Alec Guinness, that Obi-Wan. It shows him moving. At least to me, it did.
Maybe next time Ewan's got a few more gray hairs in there. Since Alec was
a little frosty,
pretty well white.
Well, Alec was 63. Ewan's not too far behind.
Mark Hamill was the exact same age as Alec Guinness when he filmed The Force Awakens. When he appeared in The Force Awakens, when Mark Hamill appeared in Force Awakens, he was the same age as Alec Guinness was when he portrayed Obi-Wan in A New Hope. Little trivia for you
differently.
It's like poetry. So something that we got in this series, and it's a small thing. It's a very small thing, but something that we got that I'm actually very thankful for was at the end of episode 6. We hear Obi-Wan laugh. Well, at no point in the entirety of the prequels did Obi-Wan ever laugh. I mean, he kind of chuckled a little bit.
Chuckled.
Yes. Yeah. Well, whenever he and Anakin are riding up in the elevator at the beginning of episode 2, he's like, and Anakin reminds him of the nests of Gundarks, and Obi-Wan just goes,
"Oh,
but,
yes."
Yeah, but at the end of this series, Obi-Wan has like a full-hearted, actual laughter, and it's like, oh, well, his character can be happy. How about that?
Well, his character was happy with Satine, and then he got sad.
Exactly.
And you know what? That's where Rey came from. That was the big theory, was that that Satine and Obi-Wan had a child, and that child grew up and had Rey.
I thought it was always Corky, her nephew, or whatever his name was. Was it Corky? Her nephew? Everybody thought that was Obi-Wan's son.
Oh.
No, I have no idea. I honestly don't remember. I don't remember her having a nephew.
Yeah, because he was real big into Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm. And he kind of weirdly looked like Obi-Wan.
A little bit.
Well,
So,
I mean,
yeah. That was the big
Yeah.
theory of, well, it's still going on. Yeah. People think that, she had a kid but didn't tell Obi-Wan.
That's because nobody can picture Palpatine and some other Senate intern.
Bodio Dodoin.
To be fair,
To be fair,
not trying to play devil's advocate here, but to be fair, Palpatine's supposed son was just another clone of him, a failed clone at that. Deemed a failure by the Sith Eternal, went on the run, fled to Jakku with his, lover, who was Rey's mother. I can't remember what her name was. I know it was revealed at some point, but I don't remember. So, Palpatine didn't get busy. He just took a vial of his blood and he was like, "Here, make something out of this.
Do something with this, will you? I don't know what to do with it." Actually, it's funny that you should mention that, and I'll touch on this just a little bit. There was a bunch of junior novels written, and I mean, like this is like 50 pages. This is a kid's book, written way back in the 80s or 90s, and it was 6 books. Began with the Glove of Darth Vader, Zorba the Hutt's Revenge was one of them. Mission to Mount Yoda was one of them. I mean, it was just, and it told this big, long, continuing story. It was just within 6 small books. And one of the things was that the Emperor had a son, and his name was Triclossus, but he was unfit to become the Emperor because he not only he had a third eye, but he was good. And we couldn't have a good guy sitting on the Imperial throne. What was that?
That was my wife yawning.
Oh, I got you. I thought Chewie was making noise.
No, yeah.
Where's the cat?
It was not Chewy this time.
Are we boring her?
Can't really tell. It's not like she can hear you. So
No. Oh. She just hears you. So you're boring her then.
Story of my life.
Okay. Well, anything else about Kenobi? We're 50.
I'm interested in knowing your thoughts. What do you think his flaws were? We're talking.
Oh.
I'm specifically talking. Well, probably Clone Wars and, the first 3 movies.
I think. That's an interesting question.
Well, if you look at not so much Attack of the Clones, but look at his character from the beginning of the Clone Wars up until the end of Revenge of the Sith, his character had a certain amount of arrogance to him. He would chide Anakin for it, but it was a different type of arrogance. But Obi-Wan was less confident in his own abilities, and more confident in the ineptitude of his opponents. So there was that. He, as far as being a teacher, he was very much a hypocrite. He would tell Anakin something and go and do the exact same thing. And I wouldn't necessarily count that as a personality flaw, more as just a flaw with his methods of teaching. He's just not a good teacher. But as far as personality flaws, besides him not handling his trauma very well, I mean, go through what he went through, who could? But I don't think there's much outside of that, unless there's something that I missed, which is very, very possible.
I think one of the things, and this is kind of overcast like the entire thing again, like you were saying, to where all the way from episode 2 through the Clone Wars through episode 3, I think his character to me was a bit too legalistic, and so much in the fact that he was always talking about, you will be expelled from the Jedi Order. You know, the Jedi Order for him, that was like that came first, and that was all encompassing.
Yeah, he had a blind
Qui-Gon,
loyalty to the Jedi Council.
Exactly. And Qui-Gon even said one of his lines from Episode 1 was, something like, "Don't live in the moment, just listen to the living force." And I think that him being so wrapped up in this Jedi Order and so by the book as far as the Jedi Order goes, that I think that blinded him. I think that was part of the reason that he was blinded to Palpatine's rise. That was probably a good reason that most of the Jedi were blind to it. And then when that thing with Ahsoka happened, to where she was in trouble and looked like she killed somebody, and she got expelled, but then she was invited back, and she was like, "No, I don't think so. I'm not gonna do that." And he was like, "Okay, all right, fine. Well, let us know if you want to stop by for coffee or something." I'm like, "Dude." Well, we'll swing by. We'll swing by the commissary and get you dinner.
He even chided Qui-Gon, for not.
If you would listen, you would be on the council.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean.
So I think that might have been that probably was, and honestly, because of that, once the Jedi Order is gone and he's no longer bound by these legal rules of their religion, that's why he's allowed to laugh now. He doesn't have to take this vow of silence, but now I can laugh. Now I can, I was skirting the bad side by chuckling at Anakin, but now I can laugh wholeheartedly because nobody cares anymore.
A sense of humor, a path to the dark side it is.
Exactly. Is that what you were looking for, Debbie? Is that what you wanted?
Yeah. Do you think he was too young to try and take on
Anakin?
Being a master?
Not too young, but too inexperienced.
Yeah. I'll buy the inexperienced one. But I think too, it was one of those. I mean, besides making the promise to Qui-Gon, there was also I think time was a factor there too, because they already realized that Anakin was too old. He's too old to be trained. Whatever. And he knew, well, if I promised Master and Master said train him, and if he gets any older, they're definitely going to say no, not in the least bit. But I think, and two, he may have just been playing on their sympathies too. They know I just lost my Master, so they're not going to deny me. They're not going to deny me this Padawan. My thoughts.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Whew.
Anything else about Kenobi? Nothing?
No, I think throughout
think so.
The movies and Clone Wars and the series, I think he's had such a great character and story arc.
Something else we haven't mentioned, James Arnold Taylor. James, if you're watching this, you did an amazing job as Kenobi too. James Arnold Taylor, if you don't know, was the voice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and anytime Ewan's not Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's James Arnold Taylor.
Yeah, he even voiced him in the micro series.
The micro series, all the Lego specials that are coming on now. We've got Lego Summer Vacation or something like that.
It's very hard because sometimes I get caught up and I actually think it's Ewan.
Yeah.
Because he does that great of a job. I mean, every once in a while I can tell, oh yeah, that's not Ewan. But for the most part, he is so spot on.
So anyway, James, if you're watching, and we know you watch this stuff later on, so you're probably not watching live. But we didn't forget about you. We love you. Okay, anything else? Anything else?
Nope.
Any shameless plugs, Debbie?
Just MCU Monday, talking episodes 4 and 5 of Miss Marvel, and I assume we'll be talking about Thor: Love and Thunder.
And in case you're wondering why we're doing 2 episodes of we skipped this week because 4th of July was on MCU Mondays, and for those watching that don't know what 4th of July is, it's American Independence Day, and there was a lot of we were all doing other things.
I wasn't. I was at home watching TV, but yeah, everybody goes out and parties.
It's one of the few days during the year where it's, legally and socially acceptable to fire off explosives in your front yard.
Wait. What was the line from The Simpsons? Celebrate the birth of your nation by blowing up a small chunk of it. Yeah. Anyway, yes. So MCU Mondays. Debbie's a co-host. We had Chris. He's the host. I'm a frequent guest. I may not be there this week. It depends on if I go see Thor. Because if I don't see Thor, I'm gonna try and find time. But if I don't see Thor, I don't want to be spoiled. I want spoilers. Cam, shameless plugs.
New episode of Cam in Focus comes out. What day is today? The 7th. It's going to come out in a week and a day. Not long ago, I did a video on some small things that could have made the Phantom Menace a little bit better. Check it out if you haven't. I didn't do any inflammatory things like we don't want any Jar Jar. We don't want this. We don't want the Senate stuff or nothing like that. It was small little tweaks in the story or the filming itself that could have made it a little bit better. I try because obviously I try to be as fair as I can. Well, this next one's going to be 5 small things that could have made Attack of the Clones a little bit better, and it's common knowledge that it's my least favorite Star Wars film. But again, I'm going to be as fair as possible, and I'm again not going to try and do anything that's too general or inflammatory or anything that comes off as hateful or spiteful. It's going to be some small things that I think might have made the film a little bit better for me. So,
and of course, go check out all the other great Cam in Focus videos. There's quite a few of them up there now. You did another rant too, if I'm not mistaken. Or was
that was the Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li one.
Yeah. I haven't watched that one yet. But I will. If you haven't seen Cam rant, it's amazing. So go watch Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li on Cam in Focus. Well, we are at the end of the show, and I did not have anybody comment tonight. I had no comments. I can't give away this lovely print for free if no one comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it, and we'll give it away next week. And we'll get our advertising people out there and throwing it up all over the place. And man, I was ready because I got another box of stuff around here too. I'm going to be giving away a bunch of stuff. Oh, hey, look at there. No, it's too late, Stephanie. It's too late.
She's been texting me throughout the whole show. So.
So technically, she's got like about 11 ballots in there. So,
all right.
Yeah, I can show you. If you want to see them.
Have you been reading her text? Is this where you're getting your notes from? You got somebody feeding you lines? Is that what this is?
No, I think I know Star Wars more than she does.
I'm in the VIP
she watches
chat room
it, but I read the books and everything, so she doesn't.
Well, very good. Stephanie.
VIP chat. That's right.
VIP chat. And then count.
You could win your chance to win a VIP chat with Mom.
That's what we're giving away next. A VIP chat with Debbie. We'll be posting her phone number.
Won't that be exciting?
So you can call her. Okay, we're gonna give it away next week. Stephanie. I'm sorry. Too little, too late. But that's okay. Come back next week and watch us next week and win it next week.
Ew.
But other than that, I'm David. I've been your host at the GNN Cantina Happy Hour. We will see you all next Thursday night. May the Force be